a contractor, a labor contractor, was being arrested by the U.S. Attorney, being charged by the U.S. Attorney. You know what crime this was? I think 2007. You know what the crime was? Slavery. Can you believe that? In Immokalee, Florida, when I went down there, just coincidentally, there was a contractor who was holding people in involuntary servitude, slavery, forcing them to work against their own will. That was not the first case of slavery brought in that area. What I saw were workers who were clearly exploited, who were out on the fields, not getting paid for getting out on the fields. It rained, you didn't get paid. Their working conditions were abysmal, their housing and health care access was terrible. All right? Now, I need your help on this, but I want to ask you a question. My impression is we just came back from the Delano area, where I had the opportunity to go to the home where Cesar Chavez was on his hunger strike in order to protest the exploitation of farm workers and pesticides that they were exposed to. My impression is that even today, while the situation is better than it was when Chavez was active, that today thousands of workers are being cheated from their wages as farm workers. Is that accurate? I'm sorry? Right. And the reason, and I know this is what you are combating right now, is that you have no legal rights. And I pay you $3 an hour. What are you going to do about it? Right? You're not going to go to the Department of Labor, you're not going to go to the local police department, right? Then that's what you are trying to reform. So the idea of opposing vigorously this type of labor exploitation of undocumented workers is the right thing to do, it's the moral thing to do. But you know what else is about, and I know that there are some workers who are not undocumented. How does it impact them? Well, it does impact them. Because if employers can pay workers starvation wages and have no rights, why am I going to pay somebody else a living wage? It is part of what we call the race to the bottom. So we have got to fight to make sure that undocumented workers get treated fairly and have real recourse. Your recourse is somebody cheats them, that gives them legal status. Is that what you're saying? Good. I think that makes sense. And by the way, unless I'm mistaken on this, you got employers out there who are acting all the way to the bank, right? And when they're ripping off workers, making a whole lot of money rather than paying legal wages, and we have got to deal with that, and we have to hold those workers, those employers accountable.
And Caesar over here, I'll start and the economics team is going to select the first question.
I want to make a statement first on one of your race reports.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Pérez y
Excuse us.
California. Y nosotros estamos soportando a Bernie de Ventura, California, en el garage, saliendo a tocar puertas porque creemos que necesitamos un presidente como usted. Somos indocumentados. Yo soy madre soltera y a mí me preocupa dejar a mi hijo que está en el colegio de Santa Bárbara y no tenga quien nos soporte. Y también estoy entrando a estudiar al colegio de Santa Bárbara y a mí me gustaría saber cómo nos puede apoyar porque necesitamos muchas oportunidades y de verdad queremos un presidente como usted y lo estamos apoyando, saliendo a tocar puertas y diciéndole a la gente que salga a votar.
I got the first half and then I will be able to second half. I knew I should have studied Spanish better than this. I knew it.
Use the mic.
From the city of Ventura, who is
Use the mic.
Myself and the rest of the team that is present today, for
Does he standing with foot of the speed.
She's a single mother. She herself has a goal at Santa Barbara City College, and you see the importance of providing a great future for her son. So she wants to know, because she's potentially a DAPA recipient, if elected, what would you do? Because definitely the community, the documented community, is doing a lot of work in Ventura, California to get you elected, Senator. With all respect.
Congratulations. And I will use the executive powers. Obviously, again, we want Congress to pass comprehensive immigration reform. That is the best approach. But if Congress does not do the right thing, I will build upon what President Obama has done and expand DAPA and DACA.
Buenas tardes, soy Einar no soy criminal, vengo a este país con muy buenas intenciones. I am a professor of architecture at California State University, Pomona. And I've been teaching there for 14 years, and since 2002, tuition went from being something like $1,400 to today's tuition, which is over $5,000. Now that still seems like it may be affordable for some, but for our immigrant families, that is still a really big number. Our families are working families, we work hard. Our students are under a lot of pressure to have to work instead of going to school. So what does your future presidency include for us?
This is an issue I feel very, very strongly about. And it is an issue that I think the vast majority of the American people feel strongly about. Everything that you just said. And here is what the issue is. It's kind of what we call a no-brainer. It's not very complicated. We live in an increasingly competitive global economy. And if this country is going to succeed economically and in other ways, we need the best educated workforce in the world, right? If we were really smart, what we would be doing is urging everybody, not just the younger people, but the economy changes every day, your job changes every day. We would provide the opportunities for everybody to get the best education that they could. Right now, as you've just indicated, the cost of college is unaffordable to hundreds of thousands of young people. Others who go to college end up working. It's unbelievable. You probably see this every day. These are young people trying to do well in school, but they're working 20, 30, 40 hours a week. Now, how can you have the ability to do well in school when you're working so many hours, going to bed so late, kids are working night shifts? All of that is crazy. It really is not good for this country. And that is why, as I said earlier, I believe that public colleges and universities like yours should be tuition free. And also, I believe that we have to deal with the crisis of student debt, right? A lot of the people who graduate from school are people in debt. And they have to pay off that debt year after year, sometimes decade after decade. And that means they can't afford to get a car. They can't get a house. They can't get married. They can't have children. That's crazy stuff. So what we have got to do is change our mentality regarding education. We should encourage and reward people. I want you to get a good education. I don't think you should be punished for getting a good education. Well, then people say, well, Bernie, that sounds like a great idea. You're a nice guy. How are you going to pay for all that stuff? And that takes us to another issue, which distinguishes our campaign from Secretary Clinton's or anybody else's. We live in a country with more income and wealth inequality than any other major country on earth. The top 20 wealthiest people in America own more wealth than the bottom half of America. And what we have seen for the last 30 years is the middle class shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, while healthcare costs and education costs are soaring. And that's why so many middle class families are in trouble today. And I believe that it is time to tell the billionaire class, time to tell Wall Street they cannot have it all. That we are going to put a tax on Wall Street speculation that will raise more than enough money to pay for the colleges and universities tuition free and substantially lower student debt. This is not a radical idea. Germany, you know what it costs to go to college in Germany today? Zero. You know what it costs to go to college in Scandinavia? Zero. Chile, in fact, has moved in that direction. These countries are smart. They are investing in their young people and in the future of their country. We should do the same.
I'm from the San Fernando Valley. I shared a little bit of my story earlier today. 40% of homeless youth in our country are part of the LGBT community. And that is a huge issue. Many of them, when I myself was homeless at 17 in Acoima, Mission Hills in San Fernando, not only I saw veterans who were homeless, but many of my queer and transgender youth who were undocumented. If elected president, we're working hard on that. Can you commit for a path to citizenship to all undocumented LGBTQ youth who are homeless, and also with the more than 25 trans women of color who have been murdered last year? Can you make family acceptance and also trans awareness a priority as a public issue?
Our job is to end all forms of discrimination. Discrimination based on color, based on race, based on sexual orientation. In this country, we treat all people, LGBT, anybody else, with equality. And the benefits that go to anybody goes to everybody. And that is my pledge to you.
Senator Sanders,